Hello, everyone. Welcome to the High Post Podcast, Episode 3. We're your two brown dudes that talk real sports. I'm Sahil.
My name is Arman.
So, we have plenty of B ball to break down, and we'll even talk about that one football game last night.
Oh yeah, I think it made the record for the highest scoring total points, right? Combined between two teams.
Yeah.
All right.
Before we get into that, just in case you guys have been living under a rock, there's this fella in New Orleans that recently requested a trade. So, Anthony Davis has requested a trade. Where do you think he ends up? Does he end up getting traded within this week, or do you think the Pelicans wait until the summer?
Let's see. I mean, at least as far as we know for today, since the morning, there's been news of he's coming to the Lakers. It's a done deal. People were insinuating multiple reports. There are reports of now they're gonna wait until the offseason to trade with Boston. Uh, to be honest, I don't think we'll have a clear idea until either it actually happens or until after the trade deadline.
For real, there's been so many reports coming in. It's like, man, every hour they're reporting something. Like, dang, have their phone calls just been have they been calling each other every 20 seconds about the trade?
It feels
They're
like it,
monitoring
and it's
mood
something
swings.
something new and totally different every other hour. It's
Exactly.
insane.
Yeah, all the mood swings going on. So I was talking about first of all, from our Laker perspective, guys. And I'm sorry if this may bug you, how biased we might be. But I do believe he ends up on the Lakers, but I don't think he gets traded this week. I think it happens in the summer when the Pelicans actually realize after the Celtics give him an offer that the Lakers offer is actually the best one for them. Because Lakers can offer Lonzo, Kuzma, Ingram, and even throwing guys like Zubac, Hart, picks, and
And yeah,
expiring contract.
definitely. Um, yeah, no, if the deal doesn't happen now, uh, and it goes into the offseason, I mean, the Lakers have a chance, especially if we make the playoffs, which I believe the Lakers will, to even raise the stocks of the current players as of right now, like Ingram, Kuzma. They can show what they can do in the playoffs. Because, I mean, I don't want to sound like biased because we're Laker fans, but that offer that they're getting from Boston, that Jason Tatum, I mean, I don't know how much the gap is between him and these young guys that we have.
Yeah, I've been telling you, even I told you in the playoffs last year, I believe Tatum is kind of overhyped by the media. Yes, he is a great player who has amazing potential. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but I believe that Ingram and Kuzma aren't that far off from him, or even maybe Kuzma might be better than him. So I don't think it's that far off.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that he has going for him is that series, the Boston run that they had last year, um, without Kyrie Irving. So it showed Tatum, and whenever you do something in the playoffs that just it like makes it seem a lot more better. So
Hmm.
you put 20 points in the regular season, but if you score 20 in the playoffs for some reason, it sounds a lot better. It's in the playoffs, it's more, crunch time. You got to win the game, a lot more pressure. But I think we'll see. Ingram, Kuzma, I think they'll have a few good games in the playoffs to where they'll be like, all right, I don't think Tatum is the deal breaker to where we have to immediately make the trade with Boston over these guys now.
Yeah, I understand the thing with Tatum, right? But if we're looking at what Boston has to offer, outside of Tatum, what can they even offer besides him? Like Jalen Brown's having a down year, Gordon
Yeah.
Hayward isn't the same. Terry Rozier, I don't know if he's gonna stay and what his contract terms are, but I don't know if they have a better offer than the Lakers, and that's not even being biased. That's just the
No, and then there's a history of Danny Ainge's track record on
oh yeah.
any deal he makes. For some reason, somehow, he ultimately it's a one-sided deal. Even if he sends a lot of players his way or out, he always ends up winning. And the team that's on the receiving end of the deal just ends up just bamboozled. Like, oh, how did we get back? How did we get in this situation? So, I mean, I don't know if the Pelicans really want to make the deal, but I mean, we'll see. There is still until Thursday. I mean, the reports are Lakers are feeling a lot more pessimistic about their talks with New Orleans Pelicans. It seems like they just don't want to trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers. But I mean, if Magic has given this grandfather offer, as they call it, which is Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Lance Stevenson, I think Michael Beasley, and two first-round picks in exchange for Anthony Davis and Solomon Hill, which is cap relief for the Pelicans. I mean, they could still, if they're going to go all in for it, they could still throw in Josh Hart. And I believe they said two additional first round picks in the future or future picks. So, I mean, we'll see what the Lakers do. I mean, Do you think they should just, even if they offered that much already, shouldn't they just go all in now?
Yeah, I mean the Lakers did all they can to offer, and if the Pelicans want that Twitch stream with Josh Hart, they can take him to get the fans more watching Fortnite. I mean, so I mean they could take him, but yeah, I mean the Lakers did their job. Like they offered the grand offer. They did all they can. They said everybody besides LeBron is available. AD did his job, making it known that I'm only going to the Lakers, and everybody else is a rental. And so I don't know how much more the Lakers can do per se, but I do think that other teams will make a call. So like I think there's a report today like Milwaukee, Clippers, the Knicks, I believe, and the Lakers are the only teams that he will consider resigning with.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true.
So like even with like those four teams, the other teams don't really have assets to make a move for him, other than maybe the Clippers. They could offer like Tobias Harris or something, but I don't know if the Pelicans are willing to take that offer over the Lakers, even though they have a somewhat of a hatred for the Lakers, as you
I
said
know.
earlier.
Yeah,
So they might just as well take anything rather than get the Lakers get him. So I don't know about that. We'll have to see like what happens this week. But another team that I think people aren't giving enough attention to that can trade for Anthony Davis is the Sixers.
the Philadelphia 76ers. That means you're assuming that they put Ben Simmons up in the
Yeah,
trade?
yeah, absolutely. I think they should put Ben Simmons up. They should put up Ben Simmons. They could put up Fultz. They can throw in other players like TJ McConnell. They have a lot of picks, expiring contracts. I don't think they're that bad of an option for the Pelicans to trade them to.
No, I think if Ben Simmons is in the deal with Fultz, I think the Pelicans will go ahead and take that offer. Not only because they don't want to deal with the Lakers, they wouldn't want to send Anthony Davis in the same. They wouldn't want to keep him in the same conference. So, I mean, it
Yeah.
would work if that offer comes up. I just don't know if the 76ers are ready to give up Ben Simmons. I mean, he's on his way to maybe get being the back-to-back Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yeah, he's
No,
gonna keep winning Rookie of the Year until he's just not in the league anymore. I
yeah,
know.
no, but I don't know. I mean, that would be very interesting if the Philadelphia 76ers do offer Ben Simmons. Uh,
And you do get a guy like Ben Simmons too. He's like an all-star already. So like that would restart the Pelicans rebuild and already put them in playoff contention seemingly. So I don't think it's a bad offer. But please take the Lakers offer for all his sake, right? But please take the Lakers offer. All right, so another thing in our episode that we're talking today is the questions that you guys have sent us. So we will be getting into the questions right now. All right, for the first question we have, do you guys believe that LaMelo Ball will ever make it to the league? You want to go get this
yeah,
thing started?
yeah. So I'll go ahead. I'm actually. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, with Lamelo Ball, one thing with him, which is a huge positive, is his name recently just came back up in some most mock drafts, which is a good sign. When he made the decision, well, it wasn't him. I think it was LeVar made the decision to pull him from Chino Hills, and he has a little stint in Lithuania. His name virtually came off the mock drafts at that time. And ever since he came back into Spire Academy, he's been playing really well. Team is doing good. They've played some stiff competition because they're in a prep academy, so they play against tougher teams in that league. I think he's projected, as of right now, these are just mock drafts for like the next 2 years. We still have to see where he goes to college. They say he's ranked by, I think, ESPN in the top 15. He might be one of the top 3 or 4 point guards in his class. Uh, but it depends. Him making the NBA requires him to go to college first, and we'll see who takes him up on that.
Yeah, I don't think he has gone any college offers, has he?
Well, I mean, I think he has some, but I think he recently or a few months back listed out a few that he would like to go to, which was like Kentucky, Duke, the higher end colleges, and I don't believe any
Yeah.
one of them had even asked him to come visit the campus. So we'll see. I mean, if anything, there's still a way he can still make it through the league. He might have to go to a lower end Division One, but we've seen many NBA players go through lower end Division One schools and still make it to the NBA. Even like a guy in right now in this upcoming draft, John Morant playing for Murray State. It's not
Yeah.
one of the higher end or top schools according to the names, such as the Dukes or Kentucky or the Kansases, but I mean he's ranked in the top 5. He could even go as high as number 2. So I mean, LaMelo Ball definitely does have his opportunities. Is let's just see him. Let's get him to college first before we can
No,
bring up the NBA topic.
and another thing with talent is it doesn't necessarily have to be you're playing in a big college conference or anything. Like if you can ball, like scouts can see that. You could play ball, you can ball. So
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
I think maybe yeah, he has a chance. His brother's in the league, right? And his name is kind of hyped up. So maybe a team would take a chance on him because like sure some people might say D'Angelo didn't get drafted, but people forget that LiAngelo didn't really have as much attention as LaMelo and Lonzo did coming
Oh
into
no.
high school.
Yeah, I think LaMelo as a freshman was almost like a household name for those who watch basketball, and definitely one of the most popular
Yeah.
players in high school. Another thing with LiAngelo, just because of Lonzo's name, he did get a few workouts. The Lakers, I think,
Yeah.
gave him a workout. Even the Warriors gave him a workout. So let's see. LaMelo Ball does look like he, at least when they were playing, is better than LiAngelo Ball. So I think he might have the opportunity, but we'll need to see what he does when he gets into college, or at least I do.
I mean, LiAngelo's a good stealer, we know that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
nah, but going
International, yeah.
oh yeah. So but going back to LaMelo, like, do I think he gets drafted at the end of the day? Yeah, I probably think so. I mean, he has talent. The guy scored 90 in the game. However, it might be whether you call it cherry picking or whatever, but like we've seen
90's
this guy
90.
90s 90, and I don't think many people have scored 90 in a high school game. So yeah, I do think that LaMelo Ball will make it to league, and like you said as well, I think he will.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so next question. Who are your guys' favorites to come out of the East and West? All right, so for the
So,
East,
yeah, go ahead.
man, God, the East is just so difficult. I would probably lean towards the Celtics probably right now to come out of the East because I think the way Kyrie Irving's been playing lately and everything, I just think they're ready. They have the firepower. They have the necessary coaching. I think they'll make it out of the East, but Toronto could give them a run for their money with the way Kawhi's been playing and everything, and Nick Nurse's new offensive style that sort of like helped them adapt to like the NBA now. So I do think that Toronto could give them a chance. That's like a 50-50 torn between them, but I would probably lean towards the Celtics in the East.
Yeah, so one thing with I do like the Raptors very much. But the one problem I have with them is Kyle Lowry. For some
Hmm.
reason, he seems to, they say, oh, those great players, they turn the switch on for the playoffs. He seems to turn it off. I don't know how a player regresses from the regular season to the playoffs. He just doesn't look comfortable out there. He doesn't play really well. Um, if they need to make the finals, they need everybody as a cohesive unit, as a team
Yeah.
to make it. Kawhi Leonard is obviously going to do his thing. He has the experience. He's been to a finals. He's won a championship. He was the finals MVP with the San Antonio Spurs. But they would need the entire team, the Kyle Lowry to be focused. But as far as my favorites come out of the East, I would have to go with Boston as well. I mean, you saw the run they made last year, and that was without Kyrie Irving. And this time, Kyrie's there. He's determined. Uh,
Yeah.
he's got the leadership. He's got the experience in the playoffs, the finals, and all that. So, uh, Milwaukee is another team that's very interesting just because of how well they're playing this year.
Hmm.
Uh, but I still think Boston as a team is much better than the Milwaukee Bucks and everybody else from the East. Now, obviously, anything can happen in the playoffs. This is
Yeah.
barring any injury. So, as of right now, I would have Boston coming out of the East as well.
Yeah, and also another thing, like some people probably allude to the idea of seeding, but as we've seen in the playoffs, seeding doesn't really matter. Like if you got players that can play, like I know Kyrie Irving is the type of player where he can go into anywhere and just play because he has that experience. I think playing alongside LeBron's made this guy even into a more certified killer, and he just has confidence anywhere he goes now in the playoffs, like LeBron does. And especially like even not having LeBron in the East gives any team a chance now, so it's kind of wide open, but. I would probably put the experience on the Celtics just because last year they were 48 minutes away and now Kyrie Irving's back. And so, yeah, I'd probably go with the Celtics.
Yeah.
And as far as the West goes, I mean, I don't even think that's a
All right.
question.
Let's make it a game though. Let's say if the Warriors don't make it somehow, some way. Because
Oh,
we both
man.
believe the Warriors will make it out of the West. That's no contest.
Yeah.
But outside of the Warriors, who else intrigues you coming in to make a good run?
See, that is like the biggest unknown. Who is that second team in the West? Because, like, yeah, you got teams like the Rockets with James Harden and Chris Paul when he's healthy with Capella. OKC, maybe the new style this year is actually working, and I think it's really working well with Westbrook sort of taking an offload of Paul George, and maybe even the Lakers, whether they keep the roster intact because you got LeBron James. So I don't know, but if I had to say who's that second team, I'd probably go with the Rockets, just because I felt they thought they could should have made it last year, and I think that they have the belief that they can even make it this year if they're healthy, the way James Harden's playing, which I don't think they will. But
Yeah.
like you said, if we were to make it a scenario and play devil's advocate, I'd probably say the Rockets if
Cool.
they
Yeah. No,
could challenge the Warriors.
you were right to allude to your point previously where you said it's basically. I mean, we don't know for sure who the second team is coming out of the West. Obviously, when the Rockets are fully healthy, they're a very dangerous team.
Yeah.
They had that. They were in that game 7 last year without Chris Paul that they lost. But yeah, so they were almost a game away from making the finals. But I would say I like Oklahoma more just because of how they're playing, how Paul George is looking. He looks like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Him and Westbrook are actually playing really well together. They're a top team in the West. They look really good across the board as well. Steven Adams is playing well. The team is playing well. I would have to go obviously like we said before, we both have the Warriors coming out of the West. But if for any reason anything happens, I think Oklahoma could take it.
Yeah, and just now going back to it and not being nice to these other teams, the Warriors are gonna make it, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the last Infinity Stone. I mean, come
oh yeah,
on.
DeMarcus. Yeah, now DeMarcus Cousins is there. I mean, there's just no stopping the team in the playoffs.
And before we go into the next question, I also want to talk to you about this. Do you think it's kind of like watching NBA season? Because I don't think this problem is there now. Because like obviously like in the playoffs, like we know who's gonna win. But I think the regular season is fun to watch. But you know how some people are gonna say like, "Oh, they got too many players, right?" Is it fun to watch in the playoffs? So what do you think about that issue?
I mean, as a fan, I think people just say that as a just out of they're just upset. But everyone's still gonna watch. It's a great story. Anytime there's a story in the NBA, people love to watch. And like they say, dynasties are very fun and interesting and very entertaining. We don't say the same thing about like the New England Patriots every season in NFL or especially this Super Bowl. Obviously, my prediction was that the Rams are winning, but that was out of just pure hatred for the Patriots. But I think everyone knew the Patriots were going to win. But I mean, people still watch the Super Bowl. They still are entertained by it. They're still entertained by the whole playoffs. I mean, same with NBA. So I think, obviously, it puts a sour taste in everybody's mouth just because of how great the Warriors are, and they add another guy like that. But no, people still watch, and I don't think it's bad for the game. If anything, I mean, it makes it more interesting.
No, obviously, I think from the team's perspective, it's a good moves that they made, but from the players, it's kind of wrong. Like, it's not fair. Because for the other teams, like, you guys are already the best team in the league, is adding other players. So, yeah. And then the Warriors are coming out of the West. We both agree on that.
Yeah.
And next question we got. Well, this is an interesting one, actually. A little out of the box that you don't hear media talk about. So, what do we think about Sacramento's young core, and are they playoff contenders?
Oh wow, Sacramento Kings question.
Yeah,
Huh,
who would have
yeah.
thought that in 2019?
Well, I mean,
No,
well, actually, I mean, it makes more sense in 2019 than it did in the past few years because the Kings
Yeah.
actually look like they have a direction, which is trending upwards instead of the normal downwards. But going to the question on how we think the Sacramento Kings will be doing the rest of the season, I don't believe they'll make the playoffs.
No.
I think it'll be. I mean, I think they'll be at best a ninth, not even maybe that like a 10th seed, but it'll be good. They'll have a good run. I just don't think they're there yet. They need a few more players. I mean, they're still supposedly really active. Going to be this trade deadline. So if they make great moves, they get certain players, they can maybe make a run and make the playoffs, so getting their 8th seed or so. But all I can say is they're trending positive. They look like they have a very good backcourt in De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. The team is young. They're getting better every year. They do need to add some free agents, maybe get a little bit better at the small forward position. But I mean, it's definitely it's a good time to be a Kings fan. I can say that at least.
Yeah, and obviously, like making the playoffs this year is not really a bad thing because like the West is always so competitive, right? So But their young core is really special, and I think it'd probably be one of the best young cores. Buddy Hield is looking amazing, playing up to that six pick status. De'Aaron Fox, man, we always talk about like, is he better than Lonzo? Yes, he's better than Lonzo. He's
Yeah, I
playing
think
a
we can
lot
make
better.
that debate. We can end that one for right now between him and Lonzo.
And here's
Uh,
another interesting like tidbit about Dan Fox. Like in that draft class, where would you say like you rank him out of like the top players in that draft? Obviously, you got Tatum, Mitchell. Is Dan Fox that third guy? Because I think he probably is, right?
yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I would have to say De'Aaron Fox is that third guy.
Yeah, he's special. Like obviously, just the way he's been doing it, averaging the points. But people underrate his defense as well. The dude's a lockdown defender, always
Yeah,
picking your pocket.
I think his nickname is Swipe of the Fox or something. That's like his Twitter handle or something. But he gets a lot of steals. He's a great defender. He has a great heart, great motor. He runs up and down the court. You can tell he gives it his all. Uh,
Yeah.
that's one thing. From the beginning of the game to the end of the game, the guy's going to be going at 100 every time, every play, every second.
And in terms of playoff contention, I don't think you guys are that far off. Like the Kings are like right there. I think they could maybe make a playoff run next year, if I'm not mistaken. They got that
Yeah,
much talent.
they got the talent. They just got to do. Let's see how Marvin Bagley, because that was a good draft pick. I like Marvin Bagley coming out of Duke. Uh, Fitting with the Kings, see how he plays, if his growth as a player. Uh, they have Harry Giles, his growth as a player. See who they draft in this draft, and if they can get some free agents, some veterans, make some moves. I mean, yeah, definitely. I can see them making a run in the playoffs for next season for sure.
Okay, and then here's the next question now. So this question we kind of talked about a little earlier, but they address a specific team. So this person asks, can the 76ers win the East? Now, we were talking about our contenders. We didn't really mention Philly,
No, we did
did we?
not.
But no, I don't think so because I'll tell you why. Because I don't think that the Sixers are like ready in the playoffs either. Because we saw last year, perfect opportunity you have. No Kyrie, no Hayward last year, and you lose in five. So I don't really know if the Sixers are playoff made, but they obviously are a good young team. And obviously there's drama with Jimmy Butler too. Like this guy everywhere he goes is just like a problem.
Oh yeah, he's becoming a name in organizations, but one that you might want to stay away from. It's not a
Yeah.
good thing. It's not a good thing.
Even with how skilled and how talented he is, it's just like, man, like what is Jimmy Butler doing in our locker room now? So I don't know, man. Can they win the East? I mean, certainly they can. They have the talent and the coaching. Brett Brown's a great coach coming from the Popovich tree, but I don't think they will. And I don't think in the East because all these teams are young. Toronto has a lot of young talent. Boston has a lot of young talent. Milwaukee has a lot of young talent. I don't really know if they're ready, man. Like even with the players they have, Joel Embiid, best center in the league, but I don't know if they can win the East.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that they can. One thing is the team does have the talent, that's for sure. You have Ben Simmons, you have Joel Embiid, you have Jimmy Butler, uh, and the East is like we say, it's open. It's open for any team out there. We saw certain teams can make runs, but one thing with them is Ben Simmons. How much they rely on him down the stretch? His jump shot because he doesn't have one. His free throws aren't that great either. He's not that great from the line, and so I mean, and they're I'm not saying they're dysfunctional, but with Jimmy Butler, there's already been some issues in Philly with him and the coach or the organization that they've announced. Uh, yeah, no, I don't think they can win the East, and if they do somehow manage to get in to the finals, I think they're gonna be going home pretty
And
quickly.
yeah. Obviously, there's another player on the Sixers that we need to allude to, Markel Fultz. Like, is this guy even ready?
See, yeah, I mean, I almost forgot that he was on the team for a second because he's
Exactly.
just not out there. I don't know. I don't know if this is Philly's strategy to where like they like to hold out the rookies for a long time. Like Embiid took a few seasons to come back into the league. Simmons obviously took his first year off. Um, Fultz already didn't play much his rookie year, and he's already not playing much this year either.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if it's that Luke Cage Seagate treatment that they're giving them, or they come back even better with more powers, but we'll have to see. Because I think they're trying to ship Fultz, so I don't really know like if they're gonna keep him at all or not. So let's see what happens with them. And so next question. We have which team from each conference has the brightest future, which includes potential playoff runs and finals appearances. So for the brightest future, so start off with the West now. I would probably say the Denver Nuggets. They have a really bright future because obviously this year you're second seed in the West already, and you got Jokic, Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Gary Harris.
And
These are
don't
all
forget the guy that they drafted. He hasn't played yet.
MPJ, yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. He was at one point known to be one of the best high school players, and the injury derailed him a bit. And he's just adding him into that mix just seems so scary. This is obviously assuming that he's 100% healthy when he comes back.
Dude, he's such a monster. Like I remember we used to watch his highlights at Nathan Hill. We're like, man, this guy's gonna be something special. Brandon Roy was his coach, and I think he was saying he's never seen anybody like this before.
Oh yeah,
So I mean, it's definitely something when you have legends sort of telling you like, "Oh, you're gonna be the next big thing" and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, and this guy hasn't even played yet. So, when they get him back next year, I think they could be even more deadly with the young core they have.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
which team would you say in the West is the sort of has the best future?
I mean, we said we just mentioned Denver right now, which I believe as well. We were talking about the Kings. That's a good team as well. Uh, Another team, it depends on how the draft comes out for them, is a team in Phoenix, the Phoenix Suns.
Mm,
Devin Booker's on the team. DeAndre Ayton just joined the team. They still have Josh Jackson, who's a solid small forward. TJ Warren is still not that. He's still pretty much young. He's still got quite a few years left in the league. Uh, but if they win the draft and you put a Zion in with the
oh,
Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, I mean that team. I mean, this is assuming that Zion Williamson becomes one of the top players in the NBA.
he will.
Yeah, and I mean it seems like he will. He's like that once in a generation talent that's coming in. But I like what Phoenix has, what they're doing. They still need to make some moves. They don't have a real true point guard on the team yet. Um, but I like Phoenix going forward as well. But then, yeah, brightest future. I don't see them, even if they do get Zion, becoming a playoff or a championship threat off the bat. It would take
Yeah.
them a few years. But I see Denver as the most legitimate team to be making deep runs in the playoffs for quite a few years going forward now, just because of Jokic and Murray, that tandem that they have. It should be fun to see, though.
Yeah. Obviously, like what you were saying with Phoenix, like they're so young and they're so like because they have a lot of years left until they become this like at the pinnacle like where Denver is right now. But like I honestly I do think once they get it going, Phoenix, they will be something. They will be a force to be reckoned with.
No, definitely.
So in the Eastern Conference, which team we believe has the most potential? I would probably say probably the Boston Celtics. I mean, if they keep it all together. I mean, you got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, I mean, he's not really that special as I thought he would be, but he's not exactly bad. Terry Rozier, whatever, if they keep him, I mean, I would probably go with them to be special in the East. What team would you say is going to be the most special and most talented team?
Yeah. So you have the Boston Celtics. Obviously, they have a plethora of draft picks as well, and they do pretty well in the draft, and they have young players. Um, Another team, being as their core of players, that I mean, I don't know if you want to consider them as a younger team, but like the Milwaukee Bucks, they have
Mm,
Giannis. He's only been in the league for about 5 years. They have Malcolm Brogdon, who's a solid player. Uh, those two guys. Middleton's been in the league for a while, so you can't really consider him a younger guy. But as far as being in the playoffs for the next 4 or 5 years, I would say Milwaukee would be a team to look out for because Giannis is still so young and he's getting better, as we say.
yeah, dude.
So they'll be making multiple runs. I do think. I mean, it's all wishful thinking, and we never know what could happen in the NBA. That with the talent that Giannis has, that we might see them in the finals one year.
Mm.
Don't know when that'll be, but they have the talent on the team to do so.
No, definitely. I just almost forgot about Milwaukee. Just like Giannis Antetokounmpo, you have a top three, four player in the league right now, and then obviously Malcolm Brogdon was Rookie of the Year. People forget that. So I mean, yeah, the team is not bad on young talent, but I probably lean towards the Celtics that
Yeah,
have more talent, assuming they don't trade it all away, right?
Oh yeah, man. You never know what Danny Ainge and those guys out there. So
Yeah, especially with the treasure chest of assets they have, they can make a move like we were talking about earlier for AD at any time. All right, so next question we have. This is sort of a funny one. Is James Harden a foul chaser?
oh wow.
Uh, I mean, if when you put it that way, yes, he is trying to go out and get a foul to get threes. But I mean, are there really like there's always other guys in the league that are doing the same thing, right? To get free throws,
I
you want to
mean,
get points.
yeah. At the end of the day, you want to get points. You want to win games, and if you're getting the calls, why not go out and seek to try to secure your victory?
Exactly. Yeah.
So there are times though where it's just blatant that I don't know what it is that is this. They're not touching hard and he's getting a call. He's where there's moments. I think he had a game a few weeks ago where he was dribbling towards the basket and got little like pushed out of bounds, and he automatically assumed that it would be called a foul. Like he picked up his dribble midway instead of going all the way attacking it for the layup. He stopped and just walked out like he assumed that there was a foul called,
Mhm.
but there wasn't. So I mean, I don't know, but is he a foul chaser? I mean, he is averaging I think the most free throws,
Oh yeah, easily
and
too.
he has attempted the most by far.
Oh yeah.
I think second place is Anthony Davis in free throw attempts, and I think he has Davis by, if I'm not mistaken, over 100 free throws somehow. So
Phew.
he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that he's a foul chaser, but I mean, the stats and the numbers show that he's been at the line most of the time. So
Yeah. And here's another thing, like he's so good at like when the motion's about to come, he's so good at guessing the motion. Like, oh, this guy's arm is reaching across. Let me just throw it up to get
yeah.
the foul. Like, I
So
gotta give him that too.
as far
Like,
as drawing the fouls, I saw these numbers. I think these were from about like a week ago or a few days back, but uh, just as numbers. So I'll just list out a few names and I'll let you know how many fouls they've drawn, meaning how many times they had a foul called from the defensive player to them.
okay.
Anthony Davis, 157 fouls drawn. Steph Curry, he's had actually 85 fouls drawn.
Wow.
Kawhi Leonard, 133 fouls drawn. So those are like one of the top, you could say, top guys in the league. When
Yeah.
you get to James Harden, he's at 225 fouls drawn
Ooh,
with 557 free throw attempts. So,
my goodness.
so
That is quite a lot of free throws.
yeah.
I mean, especially when you give free throws for sniffing his beard. I mean,
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
he's like getting a lot of those. But yeah, like
I
obviously
mean,
James Harden's a great player, and we're not sitting here downing him. But like, I mean, yeah, he's a foul chaser. To answer your question, dude, yeah, he's a foul chaser.
if you put that into perspective, on average, he's getting 5 calls every night. That's a guarantee.
Yeah,
And that's about, depending on when those calls are fouled, he's getting on the line around 12 times a game. So I
I mean, he's
mean,
definitely like doing his job to get to the line,
oh
so
yeah.
it's not a bad thing. All right, next question we have this recent trade that went down about that. So, who do you guys believe won the Knicks and Mavs trade, and why are the Knicks so stupid? So
So
like
I
the
mean, there was
Knicks,
yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
the Knicks. I mean, man, we don't know what they're doing, but they apparently have a master plan. Like this is to clear cap space, I believe, for the summer. So, I mean, yeah, you got guys like Kyrie, Kawhi, KD out there, and maybe you can even make a run at Anthony Davis if you get a top pick. So, is it a bad trade for them right now? Yes, but is it in the future? Could it potentially get better? Sort of like the Kings and Pelicans trade with DeMarcus Cousins did. Maybe it could be something like that.
Yeah. So what the Knicks did was a lot of fans were pretty upset with the New York Knicks on that deal that they made, sending away Porzingis. But I mean, obviously they supposedly had their reasons. Porzingis, from what they've known, his body language told them that he didn't want to be on the franchise, with the franchise, and I don't think the Knicks wanted to risk Porzingis telling other free agents or that are trying to come in to stay away that he's leaving, this and that. They did get Dennis Smith Jr. back, a guy who they could have drafted in the first place. They got DeAndre Jordan and Wesley Matthews. I don't know if those guys are in their plans to be on the team for the future. So it's basically, and it kind of feels like just a salary cap release of Porzingis getting in and for a guy they could have drafted in Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
They do have the cap for 2 max guys, and they do have their draft picks. So, best case scenario, which would be the dream scenario for the Knicks fans in the world, would be landing Kevin Durant, therefore also getting in a guy like Kyrie Irving, and then winning the lottery with drafting Zion Williamson. That's their dream. But I
Hmm.
mean, at the best, depending on what the draft pick they get, I do see them being able to get maybe a top 5, top 3 pick. You never know with those lottery balls, but the NBA does seem to like them. And we remember the 1984, was it, with
Oh,
Patrick Ewing and the frozen envelope, to
oh
where
yeah.
the Knicks are at the bottom of the league. We got to give him that once in a generation guy to get him back in the mix.
Yeah.
Zion is definitely the guy to do it. So I mean, we'll see. I do believe if the Knicks get one free agent, they'll most likely be able to get another one. But that's if they're able to land a free agent in the first place. There's always that talk about the Knicks actually have the money. They're going to go get the guy. In 2010, when LeBron
Yeah.
was a free agent, there were all the rumors of, he's going to go to New York. And the Knicks had it set up to where they have all this money, and LeBron ends up going to South Beach, and they ended up throwing all the money to Maurice Stoudemire, and just we all know
Yeah.
what happened with that.
Knicks
Um,
haven't been fishing well for the biggest fish in the pond. I'll tell you that.
no, they've been using. I don't know if it's the wrong bait that they're using, but they're not getting the big fish. They're ending up with not mediocre, I would say.
No, Maury was a good player at the time, right? But like now you have to go get a guy like Kevin Durant because fans like are irritated. They want something in return for this because you trade away a guy who's only 23 years old. Porzingis is only 23. So I mean, and you get a guy like you said, you could have drafted. You could have just drafted him and could have had him with Porzingis.
Yeah, you
But
could have
like,
built a young core through the draft.
yeah, so he
Okay.
basically gave up Porzingis for free. But I mean, we won't put it that way, but. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty bad trade for them, and the Mavericks obviously are just going crazy right now that they actually got Porzingis for that offer. They probably can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas was looking to move Dennis Smith Jr. They found their guy in Luca. Luca and Dennis Smith weren't really coexisting on the court. Not that they didn't like each other, it's just the play styles would just clash. They're both, you want to use Luca as the main ball handler, and Dennis Smith is a slashing point guard. He doesn't really have the jump shot yet. But they got a guy in Porzingis. I mean, this lining up to look like almost like a Steve Nash Dirk from back in the day. They got the
Yeah.
same type of caliber of players almost. This is if they're both healthy. Uh, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the Dallas Mavericks do in the future. They had a really good start to the season this year. We
Yeah.
were looking like a playoff team. Obviously now, I mean, we'll see how the season ends up, but next season, I mean, the Dallas fans should be really happy.
Oh yeah, dude, you had one of the best young players in the league in Luka Doncic, and then you just add another one in Kristaps Porzingis, who we know when he was healthy was a force, made the All-Star game last year. This guy's a monster. He can play. So I mean, it's a great trade for them. Things are looking up for Dallas after you guys haven't landed those free agents in the recent
Oh, and
years.
that's
So
that's another team we should have mentioned when we were talking about teams with the brightest futures going forward.
yeah.
Porzingis, Luka Doncic. They're still obviously younger team. They Harrison Barnes. He's been in the league for quite a few years. I don't know if he's in the main plans of what Dallas is trying to do, but just having the two and Luka and Kristaps alone, just that duo is just. I mean, good times for Dallas in the future. They'll have some good times.
Yeah, and you guys have seen we missed some stuff. So if you guys ever see us miss something, just tell us, like we're
Yeah,
missing
criticize
something.
us. We'll
Yeah.
everything we'll take, and we'll make sure we're trying to get better out here.
Yeah, for real. All right. So that was the end of the NBA stuff. And so yesterday, there was a big game yesterday, as I'm not sure you know because it was pretty boring, but um of course the Patriots won. Those two cyborgs, Brady and Belichick, they won again. Like, oh my goodness. I think this is gonna happen every year now. They're gonna win 50 more Super Bowls and coach and play till they're 100 or something. I mean, this is just crazy, man. They're definitely you could start that debate. Are they the best dynasty in sports history?
I
The New
mean,
England Patriots.
it's tough to. I don't know how you're gonna say no. They're definitely in the mix. They will seem to win every year. If they're not winning, they're at least getting to the championship game, or they're
Yeah.
getting really far. Um, it's this class of organization. They're doing everything. Even they were seemed at one point this season kind of like the underdogs going in
Oh
to
yeah.
the playoffs, just because of how their play wasn't up to par normally as they would be in previous years. But I mean, when the end result is winning a championship, It doesn't matter what you did, you still got there and you won. And they held the Rams to 3 points.
Dude, that's really underrated. I think no one's talking. Bill Belichick, dude, that's genius right there.
The
He takes
defense
away
was
your
amazing. Yeah.
he takes away your best player, and he forces Jared Goff to try to win the game, which obviously we know he can't. But I mean, that's just brilliant coaching right there. I mean, how else could you explain it? Even though the Rams could have done a lot better giving Gurley the ball. I mean, the dude rushed for more yards in the commercial that the NFL
the
100
100-year commercial. Yeah.
than he did the game. So I don't know what that's about, Sean McVay. When you said before the game that you were going to use him to his full capabilities again.
If that meant 10 carries, then yeah, they definitely used him to his full capabilities. He had 10 carries, 35 yards. Gurley, I don't know what it was. McVay, obviously, after the game said he was outcoached. I don't know if he's a great coach, Sean McVay, but then I don't know if the Gurley's injuries what held him back, but
Yeah, but like
35 yards on the ground. Even though the game looked close at one point, it was 0-0-3-3. You just had a feeling that this was in the Patriots' control the entire time.
yeah.
Jared Goff just did not look too great. There were at some points where he was making nice plays. He had that close touchdown reception to Brandon Cooks at the end of the game, or that could have made it a tie game.
Mhm.
That Cooks dropped, and then he immediately tried to go for the same play again. He looked hesitant out there, missing reads. I mean, they look like a bunch of babies. The baby Rams is what they should be nicknamed for right now.
And that one throw, I'm like, man, what is this guy doing? That's
Yeah.
clearly not a throw you make right there. If
The
you're not
interception to Stephon Gilmore, who had an amazing game.
Yeah.
He had the interception. He broke up multiple passes. He forced the fumble on C.J. Anderson, which was key in breaking any momentum the Rams had, although they still converted and got the first down on the next play. And you could have made a case for him becoming the Super Bowl MVP as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys on the Patriots that even Gronk, dude, Gronk had a vintage Gronk type of game yesterday.
Yeah, Gronk came
90
back.
yards.
He looked really good. He made some huge plays down the stretch when you needed Gronk. He was there. He was part of the touchdown drive that set them up to score. Sony Michel looked really well out there.
Oh yeah,
And funny
another
enough,
guy.
he was, I believe, Gurley's backup in college. He
Shit.
showed up the starter. So
Yeah, man. I think anybody could have shown up Gurley yesterday. I mean, didn't take. I mean, one of us could have done it, man. Give us 12 carries. We could have run forward for 3 yards or something. But now going back to like the Patriots and everything, man. Do you think Tom Brady, like, would you rank him as the greatest, like, most accomplished athlete in the history of sports now?
his name is definitely up there. When you look at all sports across, when you have names in mind like Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
Tom Brady, and then there's before him. But I think it's tough to say, put into perspective. Obviously, football is you can say more physically tougher than it is in the NBA, just because of the hits you have to take and this and that. And each game is important because it's a one-game playoff series. And he's got 6 rings. I mean, he's only lost. He's 6-3 total, correct? If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. Yeah, his losses was back to back to he lost twice to Eli Manning and Nick Foles, who he lost to quarterbacks that he played against. But he's hands down the best quarterback of all time, I would
Oh
say.
yeah. It's not even a question.
He's the most accomplished in the NFL.
Mhm.
That's for sure. As far as the all-time athlete, I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem if anyone said he was. I'll put it that way.
Definitely. Yeah, he's 6 rings now. He's definitely the best football player now in NFL history. Football player, quarterback. He's the best now in NFL history. Just the things that he's done is just incredible. Everybody says every year, this is the end of Brady. This is the end of the Patriots dynasty. And guys, it's not, man. It's not. They just keep using that for motivation. If you don't want the Patriots to win, don't say that. I'm telling you, man, they use that as motivation.
Say that they're the favorites and maybe they'll finally lose early
Exactly.
on.
If you guys are listening, Patriots, you guys are gonna win the Super Bowl easily next year. You guys are gonna just walk through everybody, go 19-0 like you were supposed to that one year.
Funny
It's like-
enough, they actually I think released they released betting odds where they had the Patriots favored to win the Super Bowl, which they always do. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, they normally do. But I think ESPN had power rankings to where they ranked the Patriots 4th going into next season. I mean,
Oh,
that's
great. Okay.
I mean, that's still great being a top team, but like when you come off a Super Bowl win, you expect to be the number one team. Funny enough, the number one team they had ranked was the Baby Rams. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
No way, dude. I'm telling you, the media's love affair with the Rams, man. I don't understand it.
you got to
Like,
push for LA
uh,
success, right?
oh goodness, man. The Rams are just on a roller coaster right now. But another thing, man, how about the halftime show? We'll also talk a little bit about that, man. Oh, I mean, that was a little bit rough, man, if you ask me. That was a little bad.
Yeah, I think fans were hoping for a longer version of I think "Sweet Victory" is the name of the song. Um,
Yeah.
the whole key in for SpongeBob. Obviously, the NFL gave a little bit, but not too much, and they just went in with sicko mode. And Travis Scott was out there, Maroon 5. What was your whole? How did you take in the whole Super Bowl halftime?
The Super Bowl halftime was just as boring as the Super Bowl, man. God,
I
this
mean,
Super
you could
Bowl.
even say the commercials as well. Certain it just didn't feel uh as great from the game to the commercials to the halftime than it did in
Yeah,
previous years. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it just didn't feel the same.
yeah,
Obviously, the end
definitely.
result felt like it was the same and the Patriots winning, but
Yeah, yeah. The only commercial that I thought was like somewhat like amazing was the NFL 100 commercial.
oh, that yeah, no, I have to give the NFL credit for that one. That was amazing. They show the what I would like to point is the end of the commercial. Obviously, they were celebrating the greats, the legends, this and that. It ended off with Saquon Barkley having the ball and running off into the distance, and the camera fades away. I don't know if
Mm,
that's the NFL pushing for Saquon, but I mean, uh, he
he's definitely
definitely
the
may be
future.
the best running back in the NFL.
Oh, that's not even a question. See, I've been saying it from the start. Like you can tell, I've told you, right? Many times since the beginning of the year, this kid is already the best running back in the league. People saying Todd Gurley, oh,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'd have to go back on that. I was telling you that I can't put him over Gurley just yet. And obviously, we haven't seen Le'Veon Bell play. We know he's a top running back in the league, but he hasn't played, so we're just going to keep him out for this one. Uh, yeah, I thought it was Todd Gurley, but looking at Gurley, I don't know if he's hurt or what it is, but the entire playoffs just didn't seem too great. Even it just did not seem well. I mean, I don't think he's no longer the number one running back. I'd have to give it to Saquon, man. Saquon.
yeah, definitely not. And all right, guys, that is gonna do it for High Post Podcast episode 3. Be sure to share with your family and friends if you guys enjoy. It means a lot to us. And be on the lookout for future episodes. A trade deadline episode this Thursday will drop. You have our word.
Oh yeah,
It
we're
will
gonna be
drop.
we're gonna be more consistent with the uploads. We were having some technical difficulties. We got that wired and fixed out of the way. Another thing is feel free to send us any more questions. We are definitely planning to every other episode or so, or maybe during certain episodes, have a little Q&A segment, or like we did today, dedicate an entire episode to Q&As. If we don't, we'll try to answer them back directly to you through Twitter or in all of our social media. We'll have Sal once again before we get out list our handle and everything where you can contact us.
Yeah, I'll definitely plug it right now. So follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the High Post Pod, and definitely leave us questions, tweet us anything, talk shit on us, do whatever you want to do. Just like,
We just want to see that you guys are active in this. We're trying to build some sort of following community. Let's do it.
all right, guys, thank you for joining us, and once again, stay tuned for more episodes. Bye.